Good evening, one and all. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the seventh edition of the Business Excellence Summit at the Xavier's Institute of Management, Exile University, Bhubaneswar. I'm Vyakha Jain.
And I'm Bhaskar. And today we are honored to welcome a lineup of inspiring leaders and business followers that have made their mark on the management board.
This year's theme, Leading at the Edge, from uncertainty to impact, reflects how leadership is constantly tested and redefined in terms of disruption and change. It highlights the courage to make bold choices, the clarity to find direction in chaos, and the conviction to stand firm beyond consensus. Anchored on four pillars: decision, execution, innovation, and identity. It reminds us that leadership is about navigating with integrity, embracing change, and driving impact with purpose. To our dignitaries, I would like to mention that the magazine placed in front of you is the inaugural edition of Echoes, the official magazine of the Business Excellence Summit, themed Voices at the Edge, which reflect this year's theme for the BES, Leading at the Edge, from uncertainty to impact. This platform showcases thought-provoking articles by the students of Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar, reflecting their perspectives on contemporary business challenges and their vision as the managers of tomorrow.
Today's program will begin with individual talks by each of our distinguished speakers, followed by a panel discussion moderated by our Civil Montreal. Father Nathan is a Jesuit priest, a fellow at the University of Southern California, and a doctoral scholar at SI University. He specializes in AI governance, policies for emerging technologies, transhumanism, and philosophy of technology. Following this, we will then open the floor for a Q&A session with the audience. Our first speaker is Dr. Bhaskar, who is the Vice President and Global Delivery Leader at Genpact. Our second speaker for the day is Mr. Satya Swarup, the Director of Product Management, Financial Services at Debasis. Our final speaker for the day is Mr. Debasis Mohapatra, who currently lends his expertise as an independent consultant. Now that the structure is set, let's start the session by introducing the first speaker.
With great admiration, it is my honor to introduce our first speaker, and esteemed leader who has shaped the future of analytics and artificial intelligence and continues to leave a lasting mark on the global business world, Dr. Bhaskar. Dr. Roy holds a PhD in Applied Statistics and an MS in Statistics from Banaras Hindu University, along with an MBA in Marketing from the School of Management Science and Technology. Dr. Roy has close to 3 decades of experience in data science, AI, and digital transformation, with a leadership career spanning across renowned organizations such as Genpact, IMRB, Nielsen, and academia. At Genpact, Dr. Roy serves as Vice President and Global Delivery Leader for Data Science and AI, driving large-scale adoption of analytics and AI across industries such as high-tech manufacturing, banking, and services. He has also led digital transformation initiatives, creating measurable impact across client businesses worldwide. Beyond his corporate leadership, Dr. Roy is also a mentor, educator, and an advisor. He is an executive committee member of FICCI Higher Education and an honorary member of NASCOM North Chapter. He also serves as an academic advisor and district professor at leading management institutions, bringing industry insights to the classroom and inspiring the next generation of leaders. Sir, your journey from academia to global corporate leadership is truly inspiring. We are honored to have you.
And to be honest, extremely happy to see the campus. I see a lot of positive vibes actually from all of you. So with this, I'm going to start my session. I'm sure that you are doing this. If you look at the screen, right,
है
it confuses you all. And I'm sure this is what is happening to everyone today. Okay, so everyone, if I ask you, how many of you want to have a career in artificial intelligence, all of you will raise their hands. Okay. Now, if I ask you, what's the difference between artificial intelligence, digital, transformation? There are so many words at this point. Every second meeting, I know there are more than 10,000 papers, published even in the physical life, talking about artificial intelligence, talking about the usage of artificial intelligence. Now it becomes very relevant today because we have seen a huge change uh, with artificial intelligence has created. In terms of adoption, in terms of our ease of usage of anything which is enabled by AI, right? Uh, I'll basically give an example. And innovation is something which is extremely important because if you don't innovate, I don't think we can progress. It is extremely important to go back to the history of how we have evolved in our civilization. Uh, when just even before the fire was discovered, okay, if you basically see, and the human, the behavior of humans were like very different, right? Uh, they had a big jawline, wrong. Okay, so there was no agriculture, there was nothing on the animals, or they had a big jawline. After the fire was discovered, the evolution started, when they started cooking their food, they started eating it and then they started going into their food, and that's how, if you really see today, humans, the jawlines are much smaller, and that's the behavior. Okay, the same thing happens, when my daughter, who is just teenager, she knows more application of the smartphone than I. Okay. The people who join us in the from campus are much more technical or physically aware that what we used to be like. So now the point is somebody is basically driving the people. What is that? That is technology. And AI is also an application of that technology. Right? So it is evolving and this is going to be a so this is the disruption, we talk. That's the thing of past now. And AI is going to set the physical disruption like 50 minutes when I'll give an example, how innovation happens. So I work, for a big turbine manufacturing company. I think most of you know what turbine does, right? It generates power, right? In a power plant, there are series of turbines. Okay, so they have gas turbines, steam turbines, and there are wind turbines. So I'm basically talking about one of the clients who, who basically manufactures turbines, all sorts of turbines, gas turbines, power, wind. So there is going to have a world working on that. All of this. So basically what happens is, take a car, you buy a car, you buy a car, you go for sell your car to a service sector, and the car gets service. And it is that. But turbine is huge, and the power plant is huge setup, right? It's not easy as agile and flexible like the car, right? So some engineers have to basically go there and inspect the turbine, then you have to do a workshop inspection, then you will write a report, send it to you, and then on that basis you will figure out if the turbine needs service or not. And now the question is, I will just imagine this example. Uh, if a
sure that power plants are up and running, turbines are up and running. But what to do when the world is locked down, nobody can leave. But we need power because they are staying at their home without the support of that. So what we do? We use artificial intelligence. So what we did is we got into so we said no, it's fine. So we need images of different forms. We got those images, we got the data, the downtime data for lots of years. Third is, historically we saw a note which are immediately will go as so we combine both unstructured and structured data, and then predicted using some algorithms by using knock-on that when this turbine would hit. So what happened is prediction was around 90% accurate. Okay, that means I mean this is never thought about that without physically going and inspecting a turbine, you're still figure out a time. Sitting, you're working at home. So what happened? There was a big paradigm shift. The company stopped these kind of, even after the normal, after COVID is over, everything, normal, they stopped manual inspection, they said everything will be done using AI, and which saved around 20 million US dollars every year for them. That is real. That is real paradigm shift. Because we are trying to speed a process which is not heard before. We are trying to change the detail and that stuff. And then they say, study is not people are doing this. And any of the data more than 100 feet high, right? Most of the turbines, there are turbines inside the city. So, and I mean, they used to kind of have people, used to order big things, used to go out, look at the, turbine engine and then, predict, the turbine will play what the condition. We use drones to do a photography. And using drone photography, we basically save the cost of, all the planes and everything. And even, it's extremely difficult for the turbine which is actually inside the sea to basically go and do this. Put a crane, into the sea, right? So it again, help them to save another set of, millions of dollars, right? So I'm talking about how this is not, I'm saying this is not what Genpact does, did, or any other company has done. This is the power of it, that you are trying to re-engineer, reimagine. Okay, it's known as design thinking, right? So you don't know what is going to happen, but you are trying to, your basically has a guts to change, question the existing process. That's why I'm saying that innovation is not about adding something to the existing process. Innovation is changing by that's the innovation, right? So I'll basically use quick examples that's going to make all of them. So, and this is happening in real estate. Okay, that happening Facebook. Okay, I'm just trying to think about and it's happening. All our users of Apple will be using Facebook, using by, but we have related to use our managed some of our but to the point where this is a AI system. That's why AI is the new norm. AI is going to stay. But the point is, how do I really make AI work, for the very future?
Yeah, this question you can ask, right? This is pricing model, in hotel or you know, village airline, family model, where as for example, all these people they have price as we starting giving up, so all this is happening, for years now, and now the question is, do you think our business really made a huge change in our yes, right? So as I said, the disruption is already here, and it is here, because we all are using it. Most of us don't know. Most of the end users doesn't know about technology which is using the app. So now, I'm basically this was challenge with asking questions, right? Arman, Arman, all are, has anyone ever thought about learning? When you open a store without having a physical store, the point here outside is that a car company, a company, or a radio company doesn't only the car but still on the physical. When you go to a new hall, what to do, but when you are and there, today when you look at all these things that are practically there is so why digital and the combination of really changing the entire industry, which was never thought about, which was never seen in the corporate book or any other book, right? This kind of industry never thought more and more. So this is the result. So these are from the four factors. So this was the happening. So I mean, based upon this point that yes, there is something which is happening, which is creating unrest, on on the customer behavior. The way we use, the way we consume, has been changed, in the last 10 to 15 years, or maybe, in last 5 years, we have seen, especially, pre-COVID and post-COVID. So, so whenever we talk about, 5 P's, 7 P's of marketing, these are the 7 P's of marketing. From now onwards, add the 8 P of marketing in this platform.
Okay, because if you are not connected with your customer, you will not be able to survive. And we have seen it in COVID that the companies who were already had a platform, digital platform, who had a means to connect with their customers survived, and the companies who didn't have a platform. So I think the important thing now in today's world is easy. You need to have a platform. It could be cloud, it could be anything, but you have to connect it with it. You cannot get it dependent on the physical, footfall, to your it's so important. You have to connect. These are some of the data. Again, just to tell you about how this industry is going to grow in few years. Huge potential. In every area, there is a big potential for this industry to grow. So, so what is the difference? Okay, difference is if you basically, if I'm trying to kind of talk out every new technology which is created in the market. So today, if you basically look at 2025, I think the biggest technology is AI, and two certain systems of AI, Gen AI and agentic AI, which is going to really change the space of AI. So I just wanted to basically, give a very simple understanding. As we know, this is nothing but project management. We need to understand, and we have a sense, we have a comprehension. And then, we have to act and we have to keep on learning. Very important. That we keep on, fine tuning your solutions, or your, whatever you want to teach your machine or sure that they keep on learning, otherwise stop and then, that algorithm is not. So when we talk about AI is not good. Okay, when we talk about data science, data science is not good. Okay, the most important aspect of any application today could be AI, could be anything which is a business understanding about. Okay, if you don't understand the industry, you will not be able to do an application for any kind of application. It is meaningless. Okay, so understand. So if you basically look at this, there are expert systems. There are machine people who are making the machines learn. They themselves are industry experts, and that's why this is now the accuracy system increasing and to basically done with it is important for you to understand. So the point is, if you start your career, you will not become an AI expert from day one. To become an AI expert, you have to become an expert of the industry. So if you could be a finance expert, you could be a marketing expert, you could be a product expert, and then if you basically segment it down for the industry, there is a retail industry, there is a CPG industry, there is a manufacturing industry, and then spending maybe a decade or so in this industry, you gain that confidence to really help that industry go through any kind of a competition. It is very important to you that this is not magic tool. Okay, AI is not a magic tool. AI is something which basically it comes from the experience which you gain on the job in the industry, and that's why it is important for you to make sure that become a great professional, even great AI professional, you have to understand the domain, and domain is something which will help you to have a great career. So, I mean, I don't know whether but AI was a term which was coined in 1956.
70 years back. Okay, but it was not in use, it was not so popular because there was a limited data, and then the computation power of our computers was so because there's a concept that can be featured, so basically teaching machine concept, and now it is so popular because enormous computing power of our computers, and then there is our so now the more data we get, the more intelligent we become, and AI will absolutely become much more powerful than currently. Okay, so the most important part with the emergence of agentic AI, it is very important to understand collaboration between because because the foundational work will be taken care of agents, and humans have to become more intelligent to make sure that they really kind of improve the efficiency of the process. Okay, now always AI be a big disruptor, will take away jobs. It is always a question whenever there is new technology, there is always a question when banks were all computerized way back maybe 40 years back, and they used systems were computerized. So whenever the computers came in India, there was always a question, right? Technology will never ever make you more smarter. Yeah, I mean, you have to continuously upskill yourself and understand what is my role in the entire scheme. Okay. There are certain things where human interaction is very important. So understanding, what computers can do and what humans can do is the most important. So, whenever we talk about automation, there are, these are examples of how it is done. How it is used in different industries, and augmentation is basically, it is basically enhancing, right? So AI will basically help you innovate it further. Okay, it will not, only automate, but also add value. As I gave an example of the turbine company, it will basically help you to do decisions faster. It will basically help you to kind of save a lot of money. I mean, that is very important today. And because cost of service is down. The cost of service, is something which is the biggest cost for the company. And if you are able to manage your cost of service, then absolutely, it is going to be so. And the most important part today is responsibility, because there are so many things happening. And it is not about only, I think, today, the biggest debate is, ethical and unethical use of tech. Okay, you might have seen a lot of examples. Why, we have definitely progressed on the physical journey, but if you look at the cyber crime, it is 300% up in India itself. Okay, and other part of the world, I think it is much more. Okay, the more usage of digital will basically school is more. And similarly on AI, for example, somebody is doing a fine tuning of the model, it could be biased, it could basically cause a weird difference, it could change the perception of people. So we have to be very ethical while doing this. Somebody is using photographs, watching it, putting it somewhere, which is a very unethical practice. So there is a framework, this is basically responsibility framework, but I think more than that, I think as a professional we have promised ourselves that we will use this tool for the ethical practices only. And obviously there is always a darker side to it, but I think very important for you as a professional to promise yourself that yes, I will use this technology, but I will make sure that it will be there. Okay, so this is maybe my last slide, and we all know that we have this is A new technology is going to basically change the entire world. So AI won't replace humans. That's a very powerful statement. AI won't replace humans, but humans using AI will replace humans. So be literate, be AI literate to make sure that you prosper in your job for the future. Okay, so these are very common things, which absolutely for used for AI, not used for AI, but last point, don't be shy of failure. When you fail, when you fall, get up and again up. So this is very important. Ask questions, be curious, because again, prompting is same, right? You sort of train, similarly when we are also in games, right? So there's a famous saying that if you ask a stupid question, you may look stupid for 30 seconds. But if you don't ask questions, you may stupid for the time. Right? Please ask questions. Okay, thank you.
We would like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Bhaskar for an incredibly insightful and inspiring session today. Your deep understanding of how innovation drives progress, digital disruption, potential of AI and consumption of AI, as well as introducing us to the eighth field marketing, which is platform. I'm sure it has given all of us powerful takeaways to navigate the uncertainties in today's business world.
From exploring how innovation and disruption are redefining leadership, we now move to our next speaker, who will show us how these ideas take shape in product execution, where vision becomes reality. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pride to introduce a visionary leader who once walked the same corridors as us, sat in the same classrooms, and dreamt of making a mark in the corporate world. A proud alumnus of Xavier Institute of Management, Exam University, Bhubaneswar, batch of 2004, Mr. Satya Swarup Das. An engineer from NIT Rourkela, Mr. Das has consistently pursued excellence, most recently through a program on leadership and AI strategy at ISB Hyderabad. Over the past 2 decades, his journey has spanned ICICI Bank, Infosys, Oracle, and Virtusa, where he has led transformation programs aligning innovation with business needs. Today, as Director of Product Management, Financial Services at Unisys, he drives global product strategy, builds next generational digital banking platforms, and helps institutions modernize for the future. His perspectives on digital banking, embedded finance, and digital transformation have been featured on global platforms like Finextra and the Financial Times. In recognition of his impact, he was recently honored with the Indian Achievers Award for Business Excellence 2025, a testament to his relentless pursuit of excellence. With great pride, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Satya Swarup. It's an honor to be back here, and I must thank the family for inviting me here. And really feel blessed to be among some of these great professors and taught us. Might be anything would be prized probably, but then where I am to follow. And really looking forward to this as much as looking forward to it. I am from the 2002 2004 batch, and being here for 21 years is quite a long time. I see new faces here, and that feels me like I'm getting old. So that's where I stand. So Dr. Roy talked about a lot in terms of how innovation has to happen. But yesterday I was here in the hall, and one of the students were asking about being pressurized of having innovation all the time, so how do you handle that? Right? So it's a different topic, the handling and not go into that. I take it forward in terms of as future business leaders, how do you make those decisions to transform innovation into real impact? Right? That's what we are discussing about. And in the process, we will take a lot of decisions in the process to actually transform innovation to impact. Okay, so with that context, let me move on. What exactly do you mean by the decisions, and how do we reach impact from innovation? So innovation, I think, is something which is you get a new idea. Typically, that's what it means is about. But I remember one of the anecdotes which I learned from one of my courses in LIT recently. It said there was a question which was asked to great Steve Jobs, okay, and it said, "What do you see future from here for next 10 to 15 years?" And he looked out of the window for around 2 to 3 minutes and came back and said that I will just if people are not able to understand what does it mean actually, how can you say that I just stand in the horizon, take decisions, right? But what he said as an explanation to that is that he said I scan the horizon and find out who is doing what and I will replicate that. So is it true innovation? May not be the true definition, but executing some idea to create impact is also interesting. As I said, there's a difference that I want to bring in here is that new ideas, innovation, executing a new idea successfully as a business goal or giving profit to a company and successfully running, getting adopted by customers is also innovation. So here comes a very magical word about how innovation goes into impact. Because real innovation doesn't give us anything, right? It might be a great idea, you might be happy about it, but end up being a corporate world, what is it mean to me? Does it transform into my return on investment? Does it transform into my customers being happy? And things and so on and so forth. So it has to produce something, right? The innovation, mere innovation doesn't mean anything unless it is repeated. So what the bridge that that actually connects innovation, transforms into impact is called execution. Yes, that's what I'm going to take forward. And I think I will concentrate more towards the products that we build. And since my background in IT, so it will be more of examples would be in that format. But I think the more generic aspect of it is going to follow the my fellow panelists, the sister will handle that. So with that, let's understand. I mean, there's nothing new in this slide, but I just want to think over once more here about what is happening currently. Okay, so why is this topic chosen today to talk about for the past 2 days here? To leave an age, because I think Professor yesterday asked about what it is, right? It's about a boundary of having some competitive advantage over something else. The age is actually shifting. So where we were starting at age at some point in time, in last 3 years, I think it has shifted on that, right? Because maybe the advent of AI and generative AI, mainly with ChatGPT coming in and so on and so forth. Its sisters or competitors, whatever we call it. So now, one is the age shifting because it's something new which has come, which we are not probably anticipating now. But it has come. So my research is that I just discuss about how it will change subsequent in due course of time here. So but you have to realize that in any organization, right, there was always business which has business progress to solve that. There is technology which solves that to a large extent. Not saying that it was doing that, but humans also use the technology to transform business. Right? So there are basic three topics that we always come across with when we talk about any company in the business. What is changing now is that one of the topics, one of the areas of this the areas which is technology, overwhelming complex, right? Technology now is saying that I can do humans part of work. Technology also saying that I can do some kind of business rules and business functions. So what is happening is there is an imbalance which you have to probably understand that there is a chance in the entire across industries or across businesses that technology is saying, putting on the hand saying that I can do the other job. What does business and people do today? What are those folks are going to do? So they have to now readjust because somebody else is taking up their job. So from that perspective, what it means is that there is a rearrangement that has to be done right now, okay, in businesses. Because one of the items has gone ahead and said that I can do the other jobs as well. So in that context, how do they move from forward from innovation or system that we have to actually I think I was here in the market yesterday, and it was discussed that it's part of marketing, right? It also applies to many other industries, right? So person who does execution might think that I'm not very innovative, or person who was asking yesterday about innovation. Mere innovation, I will repeat that it doesn't mean anything unless it transforms into some kind of impact, monetary, customer satisfaction, whatever it is, right? So how do we move from vision to product? So there are two, three broad states I will highlight here. The vision is what gives us why I should do it, okay? Or why would a market need it? Why would the customer need it? It's not about the internet, but we think about the customers who are going to consume your products or services. Why is it required? It defines a broad outline of why should we invest in it, put money into it, work on it to make it better for our customers, right? As students of business. Now the what part is how do you transform the vision to strategy, right? So this word is not about what we are going to do. It is rather what is the customer needs, right? How do we transform this to make their life better or do more business about it and make more profits in a very business-centric context. Now, there is a path which takes us from vision to strategy to the action, which we are trying to do also on execution, right? Now, in that, the product execution means how and when it is going to be available to our customers in a simple time. So, execution means yes, there is a line of duty, there is something which has been available to us, but how do we make it available at the right time and the right place to the our customers? That's how the transformation will take in terms of taking vision to execution. So execution means now there is a line of thinking, somebody has to do that or a team has to do that and take it forward. Now in a typical business environment, you are thinking, that person is that innovation team, they do a lot of job and execution is not so much important. But we need to go the people in the organization inside structure probably. If there are 10%, 20% people are responsible for probably innovation, we might argue that all of us should be actually but then there's a large amount of food which is going to be executed because that's how the company has to earn revenue, right? So mere ideas will not work. We have to transform it. So when we look at it from a product perspective, okay, so what products or services are put in the same line, and companies take it forward. There are 3 or 4 states. We break down the strategy into defined states, and that's how we virtually execute. Okay, so the states can be done. They are not the necessary steps can further build down, but you look at market, validate whether it works or not, the idea, and then build in small chunks of say minimum viable products, go to market, test it, take feedback, refine it, and then once you are sure, probably scale it. Okay, that's more or less how we work with those products. My examples are more towards probably IT products, but it all applies to other scenarios also. So this is nothing new. Let's take an example to explain this. You know all of this, all of you know about what I'm displaying now currently. How many people use it? All of you, right? Why? What? So somebody wants a convenience and so now imagine what was the reason behind it.
Why? Because primarily the government pushed to do it through the reserve bank of India, right? So it's about they wanted to have cash distribution. That was the reason, saying that let's wipe out cash from the people's hands. It will bring in convenience. It will bring more access when it comes to the economy which is there, and it will increase the business in the country. And the return of money is going to be that was the result. On which what they did is as a strategy is to look at how do we take it to the market first. How do we take it to the customers first? Because there are different parties, right? So markets had their QR code, customers came in, and then the ecosystem built around it in terms of even the government pushing saying that in some areas, let's not give more cash to them. Let's push them towards this country. That's how it feels, right? So from execution point of view, the next stage where how does we know the merchant actually trust to have that? How does the customer has trust to have that? And then probably solving the interoperability. Back in the days, you would say, oh, Google Pay doesn't go into Phone Pay, right? Customer will we didn't have that convenience earlier, but now it is good. So interoperability has come. So stage by stage, they have grown that ecosystem to bring the value that you have nowadays in the customer. So I hope that explains a little bit about what I'm talking about, right? That there are steps and it's not so easy to transform your ideas to customer adoption. So execution has a power and scales and probably if I put it rightly, it has a stages to cross before it gets understood to reach its stage. If you take there is the final stage, who knows, there might be some more innovation which can come. So once you probably execute an idea to a certain extent, people start thinking about the next set of ideas. That's how execution fuels innovation. Okay, so that's how towards the next set of innovation around API is an example will come. Okay. Let's move to the next topic. Yeah. So why do you execute any reason to any product or transition it to a transform it to a something tangible in the hands of the customer? You will have to make our decision, right? And or what we call it trade. So in a product manager's role, when I see them every day, there are decisions to make, right? And there is always trade-off. Whether it's cost, manpower, time, whatever, right? So you have to make trade-off about what decisions to make. And there's always prioritize. Any of the decisions is prioritizing between teams, between customers, between geographies, and the global product, etc. So every product decision is always a prioritization, or there is a trade-off available. So how we make those decisions under certain circumstances that you have, depending on what product, B2C, whatever you're trying to do, is always fundamentally the product. So let's look at a high level, what are those products? So there are three angles I would say. There's quality. Quality means at what cost we are making it available, what quantity time for solving customer problems. Then there is speed, how soon you can make changes to make their life better or what the expectation from the market when you do that. And then there is overall trust. Because trust is where the revenue is converted from your hands to the customer hands and it becomes captive. So with this context, what happens is that these three aspects, we know that we have to balance that every time that we make decisions in our trade-off, but say that we will be able to do all three together, maximize them, right? So either you may not have all the money in the world, you may not have probably all the resources in the world, skills in the world, or you may not have the time in your hand to do that, right? So some competitor might be over running you, right? So how do you make decisions? There's always some kind of a trade-off which is there where you cannot maximize. So that is what we need to learn, and especially the advent of AI from later is about anything that you've been doing traditionally, whatever so far I just explained, is getting challenged, will be defined. Okay. So we'll see some more examples about it, but ultimately what you have to do is that once you actually trust, probably will have the conversion into impact from the point of view of reason to execution. Now, in that context, what will happen is, more often than not, we will have some constraints around it or some uncertainties around it, right? So we are communicating those uncertainties and become multiple times now. Okay. So let's take another example. We know about this graph, right? All of you. Okay. Now, what what they do is difficult. Tesla says that my software updates are very fast. That's what they claim. But when it comes to say the release very fast for upgrades up to date. But when it comes to safety concerns or there are instances when you must be aware of it has gone wrong and things like that, they cut down speed and they focus on trust and quality modes. So these trade-offs are not constant. Right? One is that we need to constantly see what is the context and then based on that method. Okay, and resources that are available. So the trial is never balanced. You have to realize that it's never balanced and take a decision whenever some constraints are involved in the topic. Based on the situation. Right? So why so much about something? We learned about how to move from vision to impact. And then we learned about the uncertainties of trade and barriers to deal with every day in a product line. But why so much of uncertainty around that? What is the way brought in which was not there earlier? And then why are we in this kind of thing? Speak over it. I would like to take, I think Dr. Roy talked about turbines and the evolution of mankind and things like that. I want to go back to a little bit from the 200 years earlier. Think about electricity, right? So, has the innovation which was started 200 years back or plus years back, has it stopped around here? Is it going to be there for next 200 years? It is going to be, right? So, say for example, internet connectivity. Is the innovation around the internet now? No. Is it going to stop in the next 600 years? It is money. Every year, things are coming right now. So here is the general purpose technology. Simply in the timeline of how the electricity and internet has moved, it is everywhere, across industries, across business functions, across businesses and human life, everywhere, right? So the way electricity has now paved way to so many things. So it was invented from somebody worked on how to get it, somebody worked on how to distribute it, somebody worked on how appliances can be made out, somebody worked on thinking about what are the hazards which can come in there. Okay? Think about the AI situation, which will do to that, which can be AI coming in, and moving towards the AI. These things are now also possible. Is AI going to be 100% right? Is it going to be like hazards like data analysis, bridge? Okay? Is it going to give you all 100% right answers? Is it going to actually, what are the day-to-day life which will be affected by AI? These are questions which are there, but we don't have definite answers to everything right now. But it will evolve in terms of and then probably will evolve in the way we imagine some general purpose technology and so wait for it, learn it, and try to see how it is going to be, making sense of it. And with that comes about how we are mainly in a very rapid pace. We are expecting results out of people in the right? So it will take its own time to get towards it. So maybe in 3 years, earlier, 2 years earlier, we were not talking about everything. What it is shown now and is there earlier. The execution will be once for certain time, people are thinking about it. Right? That's how it is paving way for the next way. So what we are essentially talking about here, AI has introduced a lot of volatility. Everything has gone ahead. And I was talking to somebody today. Think about what was the definition of machine. It has changed AI. Maybe there will be clause saying that what AI cannot do and do that. So it's, every definition now is going for a change. So it is probably churned out everything and made an uncertain environment from anything that they are trying to do. And people are confused, companies are confused, they don't know which direction to take because we don't know what is there ahead of us exactly, right? So that's what uncertainty is about. Why uncertainty is higher now? Because possibilities of not knowing what this technology is going to do is all the more ever than before we can just conclude. It does. So from that point of view, this made the environment uncertain, decision making complex, and then probably it has created a lot of ambiguity. If you ask somebody, saying that how are you going to actually push your AI strategy for next 5 years, might have answered perspectives, but nobody knows whether it's right or not. Right? So with that context, I want to give a perspective that AI has, made it very uncertain environment. It's the theme of today. That's why we are talking about it because it's more uncertain than it ever was for us. So as leaders, how are we going to actually deal with it? There are five, I would say, dilemmas that we face. If you are into a product management, kind of I'm sure some of us are going to be working with product management for right? That's a career which might be there laid out for you. You will always be dealing with people succession, right? So how much to do, how much not to do right now. And more importantly, how much not to do is always going to be the question. Because one of the companies will say that I have this budget to do whatever you want. It may not be possible. So how much you do, how much you don't do is always going to be higher. Similarly, should I apply it to internal use cases or external use cases? Internal is less probably risky, external is more risky because customers are doing it, right? So based on that, where should I actually find the use cases to do it in the first? But right now, what I see is more internal use cases for this area. It's safe to do that. Something goes wrong, it's going to be employed. For the customers, it will be right? But we're still move towards, I'm not saying that there's no additional use case community, chatbots and all things that community, but it will take some time to set it up between internal and external use case. Where do they apply it first? So internal use case might give you more savings or it can reduce your time or efficiency, it can increase. But external can give you more revenue and customer satisfaction. The trade-off is going to be always there. The third is in AI-based systems, products, solutions that we are trying to build, or any company is trying to do internally or externally, help of some partners. So there's always a need that we were supplying and situation because we have for product river. Now it has been changed with no one uncertainty to help with this. So how much, if I build a model, where is the data going to come from? Is it my data, somebody else's data, is it third party data, I should take it? We don't know. It depends on situation how you have to do. But what I'm highlighting is these are dilemmas and how they will be done. So we should be prepared for that. Fourth is, do I listen more people or bring in more people who know about it? Okay. So that's why you would have seen a lot of discussion happening on, say, are some people going to lose their job? Okay, of course, the people who do not have that or are doing the monthly job right now are going to not have that job. Okay? So they have to do either something else or they don't have that place, unfortunately, working. So some of the companies who are actually, most of the companies are trying to now put reskilling into their irrespective of who you are. The CEO and leader of the junior most employee, right? So the reskillers. That's how the magnitude of technology that we go. So as prepare to know where exactly I stand, what are lessons I do to more people I put to work for. Finally, the ethical aspect is never out of the question. Is it right or wrong? What I'm doing is acceptable or not is always the question. Go back to the same analogy that I gave about your electricity. At that point in time, 200 years back, some of the managers said, no, this is too risky. You cannot ask people to go to the public students players and things like that. Eventually, it has worked out, right? Do you think that the electricity is so unstable that it is not useful? No, they're not doing that anymore. That's how probably AI takes time and the partners community in fact to say that it can be adapted and in certain cases we will be happy to do that. In the long run, I feel that it will take its own course to standardize so that it will be very comfortable with it. So all those questions that we have on ethics, data privacy and things like that, it will set it up somehow. And the regulators are going to want to say that what you can do and what you cannot do, which are not very clear at this point in time. The regulators coming in, but the regulators themselves don't know what exactly they're doing, what is the end outcome. So the European laws, the US system doesn't have one. There is probably one which has come in Brazil. The GDPR and GDPR is to protect data, but they don't know how the data will be released from the system. European Union has a law, but it restricts what cannot be done. That's what exactly bring your products and services.
So with that, when we move into the next part, we find a product leader which areas are good language and methods when we go into the area. What changes you need to make? Because in this environment, there is a lot of creative that you do it. You want to do. So I think our discussion back, I will talk about the marketing. I have the same slide on the video. Behind that, I'm talking about the core piece of marketing. Our idea is match that by yes, sir. The core thing which are there, right? Sort of, I'm not going into the details. I just feel that everything now has become very narrow. It's a hyper personalized, contextual, microcentric kind of offering this company. So every person is asking what is in it for me. I don't care, the product is there, but what is in it for me? How do I use it? Or if my situation changes, how to the product react to? That's the kind of granularity which is coming from us. Think about any product. I will not ask you saying that you want to make for me. So what about my life is changes, differences, feedbacks, and things and so on, right? So I would probably introduce kind of perspective, right? Everything now has become contextual. Okay, so think about any product that we are trying to use. You think about no, it's not the right answer or right, it's not working as well. So you are finally trying to find that context which you are looking for. And context changes within a person also. It's not person specific. So let's take an example. I will explain that. So you know about this brand. I think we talked about it also. Okay? So think about your homepage of this of Netflix today and tomorrow. Is it alive? It changes, right? Think about the same subscription, your homepage and your friend's homepage, the same location. Is it alive? No. Think about your same homepage in India and outside India. Is it same? No. Why? That's why the context word comes in, right? So same product now is expected to behave differently for different functions. It can be person, it can be geography, it can be any time of the day, whatever other things you can do. One way to your friend and I like this, I don't like this, like this, like this, so many factors, right? So the things that we talk about, this I not this other things I was going to talk about, it is getting very granular to the last level saying that I want to see what I want to see. I don't care about what product you have. So the same product, Netflix, showing you pictures, several aspects. Maybe you click on something now, go to home page after 1 hour, it will show you another picture. Right? Why is it happening like that? Because the expectation of customers are going to be like the second one. So imagine that as future leaders that what you are doing from the 20 years back is no more applicable. You need to think deeper. And that's the challenge for you. Maybe you have traveled half of our journey and you have to change now, but you will start from that diagram. Saying that, it's no more sufficient to think about 4 feet or 7 feet anymore. You have to dig deeper and be more important. When we bring in products and services to the market, you don't need to take care of. There is no respite from it. Everything is going to be that way. Okay? So understand the change which is coming and the magnitude which is coming because when you design a product from say scratch and try to take it forward to the market, there's so many things that you have to do. And then the same product has to have a imagine the level of complexity which is coming. So on being multiplied by different factors and different factors. So probably take care of some 1,000 possibilities, 10,000 possibilities before you launch the product. That's the kind of change which is coming. And in here, everything is connected to the platform. We expect so that if I want to take the location, it should change. If I make some different dinner yesterday, it should change. If I have probably looked at some a particular section of it for 3 seconds more, it should change. That's the kind of so how do we work with it? So let's talk about the instrument framework, which is somehow coming as a case framework, and we design that for the case framework. You constantly scan the context. What perspective you are giving the product as a problem from the do a test analysis would not go into details and try to read about it. But we set the context of what we are trying to do. We start with the first service unit that we are going to build or even like there might be needs of this development. So next is clearly lay out what assumptions are going to be there for it. Because it's very important to say what we're doing in the real world today. That with these assumptions I'm doing this. Because we don't know what is going to be happening at the development point, right? So the method calls a hypothesis given thinking with what's required. More or less is in a simple terms you have to do a lot of work on it. So under this assumption, if this happens, I'm actually this is what SQL context of it. And that when there is no clear way saying that the 5% is economic. Under certain context, we can possibility. That is the way of thinking you create yourself to check for it. The third is about do small experiments, try to see how whether it works or not in the work. Because we've seen in recent past that bigger experimentation and then trying to do everything together to get tested. That's fine. A lot of companies are lost money there, they not like to, they don't go to see what works for them. But the at the current stage, if it's standardized, you have to look at small experiments, try to do, and probably multiple experiments at the same time. Because we don't know whether in a banking context, say, a cardboard will work or a AI finance, personal finance recommendation will work. I don't know. Because it's new, nobody has done that experiment for particular client. So they want to do run multiple instances of it and try to find out what works for it. So we don't know what is going to be done. For that, I would say what is called an option portfolio people can use. But these are not the only methodologies. Now discussing even idea about how to change your mindset for this or capability. Then you will see whether it's useful to the right position. Is it too far ahead of what we are trying to do, or is it actually near the customers? But because you cannot, you can ask customers questions, but in the current context, nobody knows what to expect right now. Okay? Just to give you an example, what we need is that sometimes back, probably a airline asks customers, what do you want? They have better food and it's like that, right? Low more take space and things like that. But what they actually discovered is that they probably the customers never imagine that they can tolerate more of travel in their life. Right? Is there a faster train which can be possible? We can do that. So customers don't exactly predict what they want, but they have to be remaining to capture by constantly experimenting and trying to do their environment. It's like a mental adjustment that you have to do. You know this gentleman, right? So the hobbies. So we say that there is one thing which also in business, which is certainly business model. So now from here onwards, we will embrace that my entire good formula. Okay, so there is no finite way of saying that we have appreciate to do and we have to for most part it's also so you have to see that you have to fail and fail fast enough and then respond. That's the kind of mindset you will do now. And accepting today from saying that I will do the answer now. Because looking for jobs that is like something things like that are settling down in the road, it may not be possible for one for something of years. Other thing, time discussion earlier, someone said that by saying that there are things one not trying to say. It's just about knowing what possibilities can knowing and how can I better prepare my information. Okay, so with this, I will say what critical traits that is required because I will say you have to create a thinking that I will say it's okay to fail and move forward. And that's the mindset around it. It's not talking about outcome. And I will say it has to be the reason. So doing and this is something. But there is always not a context to what you're doing, what your company wants to do, even reason. So I will take it probably to something I think very important thing that I think is supposed to be. What is storytelling from a product perspective? Probably the same product features and advantages and what the doing things like that must be explained to different stakeholders.
So you should have the art to actually explain engineering in different customer business, higher, greater business case, great differently, maybe some other cross functional issues. So the art of storytelling about reality, how do you convince people to invest in your product, take your product, be successful with that. So that's the mindset you have to inculcate. And I truly believe that great products they are going to burn in category. So you have to be starting to work with activity for some time before you get some tangible out of it, output out of it, and then cross verify with the market, the customers, and then move forward. And I would say with, it can only be sustained by it's not an investment I want to do. You people have to take decisions to do that. And the trade-off. So it's better be prepared for that. Make your mindset mindset. Look at what traditionally was being done, what is going to be in the future, that is going forward in the that you know. And with that, I would conclude. Here are my 4 minutes as AI probably would say, I think transform the AI stuff. You are forthcoming. Feel free to touch this anytime on LinkedIn. We have to go down from this and take you to the support. So thank you so much.
A heartfelt thank you to Mr. Satya Swarup for sharing such valuable insights with us today. A new idea is innovation, but impact is the successful execution of a vision into a product. Every product decision needs prioritization and trade-off, and how we need to prioritize trust in order to balance such trade-off, and how perspective is the fifth key are some of the key learnings that have been truly enlightening for us.
After reflecting on how products come alive through execution and customer impact, our next speaker will delve deeper into the broader theme of execution, where leadership choices are truly tested. We are incredibly fortunate to have an inspirational leader who has been at the forefront of business transformation in the Indian electricity industry and beyond. We are honored to welcome back esteemed alumnus of Xavier Institute of Management, Exam University, Bhubaneswar, batch of 1997, Mr. Debasis Mohapatra. His journey is built on a strong academic foundation, starting with his BSc Engineering in Electrical Engineering from Sumantra University. Debasis has built a stellar career spanning over 2 decades. He has made significant contributions at the global consulting firms such as Deloitte, Seoul Limited, and PwC, where he spent 14 years leading critical advisory services in change management for the power sector. As a former executive director at Grant Thornton Bharat LLC, he led transformative initiatives, improving access to reliable and affordable electricity. His key role in building strong partnerships with the government of Odisha contributed directly to the vision of Viksit Odisha for Viksit Bharat, driving innovation in agriculture and energy. Today, as an independent consultant and strategist, his work continues to shape the future of the energy landscape. Beyond that, he is a prolific writer, educating industry professionals on management lessons, the India energy stack, and modern utility roles. So, without further ado, please put your hands together and join me in giving a massive welcome to Mr. David Swarup.
Okay, great. So before I begin, I would like you to do one thing. Can you please all stand up? Put all your belongings either in front of the table or on your chair. Well, can you stretch yourself? Raise your hands. you want to leave it on the side, that's okay. Don't touch your colleague. Okay, a little bit of backside, you can also do. Done. Any other? Somebody can take forward if you like to. Thank you. Please take your seats. There was no artificial intelligence involved in that. It's only human intelligence that came from our work experience in this campus of sitting through a 15 minutes class, and we know how grueling it can be. Professor Balikan is smiling from there, and we will try to hide also. Sorry, sir. We have gone through the session, so we really appreciate. We stand here because of you. Give a big round of applause to. I'll discuss less about artificial intelligence because my previous panelists have done, I think, enough for today, so that you can take that, digest that, and apply your own brain and intelligence to derive something out of it. So I will, in general, talk something that probably I try to learn, I'm still trying to learn uh, from my management consulting experience. And many times those are related to not by formulating ideas, not by creating innovation on the drawing board, but actually deciding to execute and actually execute. Okay. So before I proceed, I just want to ask you, one question. Like either as a part of your career here or your studies here, or if you have some work experience before coming here, or either your student elsewhere, how many of you had some ideas which you took forward? How many of you like did worked on kind of a startup like situation and then took it forward? Anyone? Please raise your hand so that I can see. Okay. So there is very few. Probably this is something that you will struggle when you go out is what is the right time to take your ideas forward, or if your ideas are accepted, what is the right time to execute the same and go forward. So many times, like you will find either struggling with yourself or struggling with your team or struggling with your colleagues, to decide about how. So you will discover that leadership is not about having ideas. Leadership is about doing the execution, deciding to execute and execute. So while Satya has kind of talked a lot of things about product execution, I will generally talk about the execution in general. Okay, and that's what I think like that becomes a more important perspective or a more important topic to discuss, especially uh, when you are uh, having a team like leading in uncertainty, because you have a lot of uncertain things going around you to help you or like to prevent you from deciding about execution. So I want to begin with one story here. That is obviously from my consulting days with one like client from call center. This company, in before we started working with them in this particular assignment, they have had like they have probably worked with few other consultants as well. So their time in that first introductory meeting, we asked them, I mean, we from this side said, of course, that like, we have had, worked on the same subject in the past, but, like, these are the reports. So we asked one question, so why did you not implement things that are written there? Okay? And there was no specific answer in terms of, that would satisfy us. Maybe, like at the end of the day, what we discovered is that there are a few aspects of the leadership being needed about executing the advice that they receive to those assignments from those consultants. Now, fast forward to another project, which of course was the client was not in India, the client was outside. And what they did is basically started the project with like writing down what they want to achieve, like periodically in the project while the project is being done by consultants or like helping them, assisting them, what they want to achieve in the meantime. So what they did was they monitored every 2 weeks what was the agreed thing that was supposed to be done in this 2 weeks period and what they achieved, what we achieved. So what it resulted is that it's not like a project report or a recommendation report that was lying on the table, but there was bits and pieces that was being executed, monitored, rectified, forward. Okay. So what it means is that the difference between these two clients was obviously that execution is something that brings in credibility. Okay. Whether you do it on like a simple subject like organization or like something on the product side, something on the technology side, something on the people side, but whatever ideas or whatever recommendations that may come out with a deliberation or being from an analysis, that has to be like there is nothing like like going forward with the execution of that or implementation of that. So here I think like as like quote unquote MC, as you would like to describe yourself today. I mean, these days, like some of us are very scared to use that word after the recent experience in one of our neighboring countries. Okay, so like you feel slightly scared as if like something will burst out and you never know what will happen like that. But I love that phrase with which you are being described. So please continue to do that. So you have a big advantage here. What is that advantage that you have? You are impatient. Okay. You are impatient for everything. You are impatient for results. You are impatient. I mean, if somebody would give an opportunity for you to get into exam in the month of May 2024 and get out by 31st May 2024, I think all of you would take it, right? Right? Great. So that shows the level of efficiency. Okay. So here you have the advantage. These channels are efficient. Okay. Please don't waste it. Okay. But that doesn't mean that like you expect that everything happens overnight. But you have to learn how to channel that efficiency into some form of energy which will help you, which will help the organization with which you are working, which will help the society overall. Okay. Now, it's not so simple as we talk. Is it simple? No, you can't get in on 1st of May and you can't get out of on 21st of May with a postgraduate diploma in management, right? Or an MBA. Okay. So, and many times what happens is that you have to really wonder before executing something. lot of uncertainty, like Satya talked of, like Dr. Roy also spoke of that, is that there is a lot of uncertainty around everything. Like, I don't know, in the next 2 minutes I have to have a heart attack if you fall down and walk for it. Sorry, my wife is waiting there. She will beat me up if I don't get back by 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I don't want to die. So, execution doesn't have to be right something. And the best example that I would like to bring in here is something that happened in our batch. And when we were having the AYE, I mentioned that. I said that I'll tell the bigger story to the bigger audience in the evening. Expressions 1997. I'm very proud to stand here and say it is our batch which conceived, which executed the first cultural or multi-institutional cultural event in exam. On behalf of the 1997, batch of 1997, I accept that with a lot of humility. But why I am bringing in that story? Uh, it didn't happen, like as we sit here and discuss. It started with a small group of people, maybe 5 or 6. I would like to specifically mention the name of one batchmate, Das, and I am very proud while taking his name. He is one person. I'm just slightly digressing. He is one person who has held together the entire batch of 97 and maybe other batches also till now. Till now. So, under his leadership, a group of 5 or 6 or 10 people we started with the concept, and then we started taking it forward. A lot of discussions happened around how to organize the events, how to send invites to the people. Please remember that 96, 97, we were devoid of, like laptops in the room, or social media, Facebook, Instagram, like a normal email, accessing a normal email in the small computer lab that you have was a luxury. Thanks to Professor K. Sorry, I'm not here, but with due respect to him, like there was a time when to access the computers, desktops there to write emails. Okay, so mostly it used to happen in the night after dinners are over or maybe after midnight or whatever it is. Sometimes Swarup says we also by like bribing the like the person who is in charge of opening the door to some other means, through kind, not cash. So, and like people will walk into the classes of professors like Manikan sir, Professor Casimir Raj, Professor Chikanai, Red Eye. Okay? And all of these professors had the reputation of calling your names if you don't answer their question, which is directed point blank. Okay? So, so there was a lot of uncertainty. Where will you get the sponsorship? Where will you get how will you get the event? How will you create the infrastructure? No? So, a lot of uncertainty around that. But still, like, we didn't have a playbook. We didn't have a playbook. So, we went with a lot of experimentation. Now, fast forward yourself to 2020. What happened in 2020? Yeah, the global pandemic. And believe me, none of the organizations had a playbook. If there is any organization which, Dr. Roy was here, Satya is here, they can tell me, in fact, had a playbook to meet COVID. I don't know, maybe they had. Many of the organizations didn't have a playbook. Many of the organizations didn't have an idea how to suddenly, like, respond to an environment, to a situation where employees have to work remotely. How do I get my, like so many employees who are gone to their respective hometowns? How do get them the laptops? How do I manage such a distributed, like infrastructure? What happens to information security? What happens to, like uh, you know, the risk that an employee is actually working or not? How do I maintain the etiquette of business etiquette? Like I remember taking calls with like my shirt and tie on when I'm wearing the shorts. So we frankly like a lot of uncertainty. But did we? Yes, we factored. Lot of organizations, like tried to experiment a lot of things, failed, and then like they shut up and then started again. And we successfully overcome that. So I was part of the PwC India form at that time, and I remember like we were having interactions with the employees every alternate day, just to keep them together, just to make them feel that like these are alternate times, we will not stand further. We will be like seeing the golden sunrise again and all that. So a lot of execution was happening in uncertainty. You never knew, like COVID will end in month one, two, three, four. And then, like when it opened up again, and then again, like when it was after some time. But for the second time, I think most of us were prepared. We knew, we had a playbook. Okay? But sometimes you will land in such situations where you will not have a playbook. Okay, what do you do? Do you freeze? Do you stand and don't do anything? Wait for that situation to be over so that you can move forward? Or you step further and think, okay, let me take the first step and see what is there and then go forward. You need to have that kind of courage. You need to have that kind of, like training, mental training, not, like training in terms of, Microsoft Excel or Word or PowerPoint. I'm not talking about those things. The resilience has to be there. Okay? Those who will support you in terms of how do you execute in uncertainty. Now, once like you have started, suppose even if uncertainty you want to go forward, okay, how do you scale it up? Because at some certain point of time, even if like in Satya's case, for one product, okay, how do you move it from a prototype to a more like broadened application or like user group and all that? So, without taking the names, you must have already gone through those case studies. But I want to bring in the example of two of the edtech companies in the recent times. Okay, by you side, the other one, physics wala. Okay, so edtech one was the darling of all startups. They have funding, they had people. They were world's most valued edtech company. Look, unstoppable. And the rest, I think all of us are aware of what happened. Compared to edtech number two, they started with you, right? How many of you remember how physics wala started? Okay. So they started with a simple UQ. They built trust, class by class, student by student, end of story. So, while timing is also important in execution, speed is also important in execution, there has to be a control. Okay? So it's not all about speed. It's also about how you control your acceleration, how you control your acceleration. Okay? While like you are taking up the leadership positions in future, please remember that speed is essence, no doubt, but you also have to be cautious about the ground realities. Okay, whether it is a bumpy road, whether it is a muddy road, whatever it is road, like if you are trying to drive your Lamborghini on a village road in India, or maybe like in the lanes of Gurgaon, then you know what will happen to it. Okay, whether it will run or not is a question mark. But if it runs, then what will happen? You know. Okay, so that's all about scale. So you have to be cautious about how you want to execute in a broader, in a larger playground. Okay, so here is what like what we have generally seen is that what you love. Gen Z, again, that's right. What Gen Z love is you want to, I mean, maybe without generalizing, I would believe that most of you would like to go and work. How many decided? No one. How many of you would like to go and the very first day you go out of SI, you would like to go and sit in a CXO office in front of laptop and start working? Now, if I put the question in a different way, there is some kind of response. So that's also like something that I told my KY is that's good. That's a very good aspiration, and please keep that fire on. Okay, but if you want to understand how to execute things better, you really have to go and make your hands dirty first. Okay, maybe your field is also the office where you would probably like start writing some AI codes and all that. I don't know. But like you have to make your hands dirty first on that before actually building on your PowerPoints and then trying to show your ideas and then start advising people. At least from the consulting side, I advise that if anybody wants to make a career in the management consulting area, you be prepared to first work on the ground before you actually aspire to be part of the boardroom consulting. That's that's a quite uh, something that is required. But why? Even if you go up to a ladder and become a leader, please be sure to step into the kit of your team if they are stuck somewhere and make your hands dirty. Show them the way to get out of that. That's also required uh, for execution for leaders to execute properly. Sometimes you have to jump into the middle of the team and say that let me show you how it is to be done. Or maybe like uh, sometimes you might have to stay up all the night instead of leaving your team to think and work on certain things, and then while you are having a party somewhere, maybe on a Saturday evening or maybe in a Sunday morning also. So you have to be part of that team, okay, and do all the work rather than saying, hey, I'm going for the party now, it's up to you. Please do the work and send me that. I should see that in my mailbox by 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not the way it is. Okay. You want to be a last mile leader? Be a last mile leader by being there. That matters a lot. And that's again like I would like to step back and time and again I have used in many discussions this, that I would step back and bring in expressions 97 begin and I would bring in Bihar begin. Is that one boy who was part of all the subgroup teams I mean, I have never seen him feeling tired. I've never seen him, like running out of energy and saying that, boss, आज के लिए बहुत हो गया, अब मुझे थोड़ा जाकर सोने. No. I mean, like sometimes you would have spent 2, 3 days at a time sleepless, maybe catching a wink in the classroom. So that's a different story. But never seen him, like doing that. So that's the kind of leader that you would like to have while you are so that's something that you have to remember. And believe me, the outcome of execution, and Satya will agree with me, since he has been in the thick of many of product designs, that the outcome may look very glorified, beautiful, but the hardship and the like the real pain that goes into it, I mean, very few people would probably see that. Okay, so if you are a leader, or if you want a last mile leader, would always take cognizance of that. Okay, he may not be someone who will immediately express that in front of the crowd. If he does that, well and good. It doesn't that don't mind. But sometimes you have to really appreciate this kind of work by your team, by your colleagues, uh, just to make the leadership. So one thing you should also remember, I told you some time back, probably I don't know, mistake that as far as like it may be applicable uh, in the industries somewhere Dr. Roy and Satya. Um, in consulting industry, if I am a client, I'm not bothered about your PowerPoint. I'm bothered about the bottom line impact that you are making on my issue. Okay? And these days, what you will find is that the as far as India is concerned, the consulting industry requirement has changed significantly. Buying has also become difficult because now they have chat GPTs and all the kind of search tools they have. So if they ask me about something, they would probably do the homework by themselves and come and ask me the question and see if I am telling the correct thing or not. Second, they don't want people to deliver the projects remotely. They want people to be there, then and there, on ground, every day, 24 by 7, even in the midnight, if they make a call, they expect that you pick up the phone and answer. Maybe in certain cultures outside India, it may not be acceptable, but it's something that many of you would like to work here in the consulting space, please be prepared for. It's another thing that AI is going to have a hit on the consulting industry, but that's a different story to be discussed on a different day. But if you want to work in that space, if you want to be a leader, if you want to be known for your execution, please be prepared for it. So, what does it mean for all of you? If you want to really make execution better, want to make your decisions better, then start small. Okay? Sometimes it may work to your benefit. Okay? You may deliver more than like whatever you commit. So that's good. Thankfully we happy. But then there has to be agreement between you and your client at BES. This is the milestone, this is the way we progress. Build trust by executing little things. In consulting jargon and maybe in other industries also, what we call them as, what do we call them? The short-term benefits. What do we call them? What do we call them? What's the jargon? Yes. Exactly. Bingo. So no hanging fruit. Okay. So when you are working on a project, on a continuum, please look at the low hanging fruits through which you are going to convince your client that your execution is appropriate. Your decisions that you're talking to supplement your execution are correct. Okay? Stay resilient, even if in uncertainty. Take a step. You never know what. So mountain view का ऐड आता है ना क्या आता है डर के आगे जीत है so that spirit has to be there you have to be resilient okay you have to face uncertainty as it comes and like there are many forms of uncertainty I will take the brutal example of uncertainty in front of you we have faced as a batch that kind of uncertainty what is that what is that not nice for me, but I will be very brutally honest. Please. Agree? Agree? So that's also an uncertainty. When you are here as a batch, whether you are first year or second year, please be prepared to face that kind of uncertainty. You never know. It can happen, it may not happen. But what kind of resilience you are bringing inside you to face that uncertainty will make you something in future. If you are not prepared, it will break you. Okay? So please be prepared for it. Third, lead from the front. You are get the chance, then you will stay in the back. Okay, there may be people of different, what do you say, different kind of inherent behavior that they may not like to lead, they may not only be part of the team. अरे यार मेरे को सामने नहीं जाना पीछे से जितना आवाज करना है मतलब ओके आई आप जाओ सामने लाठी खाओ मैं यहाँ पत्थर मारने में तैयार हूँ that's it so like I'm not saying that you don't need this kind of thing on the back I think we were discussing whether like we were discussing that I don't know whether in the rounds we are discussing about somebody mentioned I don't know who mentioned that he was not at all needing to face the client. I don't know who mentioned that. So, sorry. We were having lunch. Anand and our team were having lunch in the afternoon. So, Anand mentioned that he had a person in his team. He has a person in his team who never like to go in front of the client. And Anand mentioned the reason that that person gives is that I don't want to be the fake smile to the client. But like if you are a sales guy, obviously, even if the client says that like your nose is looking very awkward, you have to smile. Yes, sir. But that guy says, I cannot, like tolerate that. I cannot smile and say, thank you, sir. Very nice of you saying my nose is awkward. He said, I can do that. So, what is the, like, meaning? But he is a very good, Anand said he is a very good data scientist. So, what do we do with this kind of, we cannot just in our team to do certain kind of work. So, I'm not saying that everybody has the, everybody has the tendency of being a effective leader or a last minute leader. But if you get the opportunity, if you can build up those traits, you have those inherent traits inside you, and you can, cultivate that further. Lead from people. Okay? Whether you are an intern, whether you are a manager, whether you are a senior manager, director, executive director, CXO, doesn't matter. Try to lead from people. Okay? Now, again, like, I think I'm close to my end time now. So, again, I would like to bring in Expressions 97 as an experience, as a project, as a, like, event which, I mean, most of us had a, like, lot of experience, lot of, like, traits developed working through it. kind of, like humility, perseverance, resilience, outspokenness, commitment. So, I mean, working through that project, working with all of us who brought in different kind of, like personalities, working with our professors who, despite their, like saying that, oh, we are not interested in such a kind of non-academic activity, still, like guided us a lot. Okay, but unofficially though, not in front of, like the head of the institution, but on the sidelines. And one important gentleman is missing here. I am missing him at this very well. Everyone will know one of the others. Mr. Banyan will certainly know whom I am referring to. So try to make the most out of these kind of experiences. These are small experiences. But they are very valuable, which you will take forward as you go forward. Okay, and it will help you further. So just remember that, like today's world is for leaders who, like believe that it has to be. I mean, if they have to do something, it has to be excited, it has to be executed. Okay. If you are shying away from it, maybe you are not prepared to lead the pack. So I think that's the last word from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Debasis, for your enlightening and valuable words. Your insights on execution, navigating uncertainty, and leading with purpose has given all of us fresh perspectives to take back and apply in our own journeys. Moving on to the next segment for the day, we will now begin with the panel discussion and the Q&A session. I would like to invite Father Mitra to lead the conversation and guide us through this interactive exchange.
So thank you very much. I think we've had a lot of insights, and one of the things that actually struck me was what remains with the human beings is the spontaneity. What I think Ms. Mohapatra did, sensing the situation and asking you all to stretch so that you don't sleep off. I think that will remain with us all throughout. And I think that's exactly the good thing about humans, to sense and then say, let's take a little step. And to our eminent panelists here, thank you very much for sharing your insights, which came not just from reading a lot of literature, but I think it comes more from your experience, leading and building projects and so on. So all of you touched upon three important vertices of our discussion today. Firstly, Dr. Roy will start with technology, and then Mr. Raj starts speaking about products, and then finally Mohapatra brought in the entire aspect of. And I think these three form the most important vertices of the future of leadership in business. Technology, products, and people. And if I have to summarize all that you have said, so that I can be very brief, I think there are two kinds of dimensions that we would need for future leaders, especially for the ones who are here for aiming to be those leaders in the future. The first one is the industrial dimension, which speaks mostly about efficiency of technology, of speed, and agility, automation, strategy, analysis, scalability, convenience, and all that has to do with bringing in technology and strategy. And you both really addressed it well. And the last one is mostly about the second one, the romanticist view of purpose, bringing in efficiency with purpose, the intention with execution. And I think that's more important to balance these two aspects, the industrialist view of efficiency and the romanticist view of purpose-driven product management and product execution, and especially of becoming a leader who would lead. And thank you very much for also touching upon trust and creativity and stability. And so much so today, Deloitte is speaking about balancing agility and stability, bringing out a new term called as stagility. Well, it sounds huge, but then I think it's all that we have. And therefore, let me open up this discussion among you three by adding a new key to what you did, platform perspective, politics, which I will not touch. Let's not go there. But what I would like to add is collaboration. Today, I think the future of work has changed. It's no more silos. As an academician, I work with entrepreneurs, especially in brain computer interface. Health professionals are working with coders, building new products and services. Today, engineering departments work with sociology departments in understanding context. So I think the skills, upskilling is very important, reskilling is very important. What do you have to say about collaboration? Human-computer collaboration and human-human collaboration. Any of you?
Question. So, there's always a debate. It's not a new one, especially a very old debate in terms of okay. So now with, so I was basically, you know, listening to a podcast where, one of the CIOs of Fortune 500 companies, she says, and makes a very powerful statement, saying, I want AI to automate my non-value added work, like cleaning my house, driving my car, cleaning my utensil, not the core work which I do is creativity and technical. Okay? So, unfortunately today, what's happening is absolutely automation is something which will be a breakthrough technology innovation. As I mentioned, that basically means human behavior. We are failing at it. And somehow we are trying to basically focus on with agentic AI there. I'm sure that the core work, the main work, and for example, just think of an agent. I'm not talking about, what we mean by agent is not somebody who is doing calling or something. Individual person whose job is to do a financial analysis, look at the data, give financial forecast, data what to be automated. Now the point is what he does first. So now the point is again, as said, that if we create more opportunities for people to do something different, okay, and that's why human creativity is more important. In today's perspective, where we are seeing that AI is automating the repetitive, routine kind of a work, then the creative side is extremely important. So I'll give you an example. I was basically CEO of one of the Gen 5 companies, we call it a business feedback, which is basically known as e-learning, learning and marcom services. So where we used to kind of work with different companies to create their marketing campaigns, to do some instructional designing and design thinking kind of a work. So, and to bring the creativity that was most of the people are engineers. Unfortunately, engineers can do anything in this world, right? So, what I did, I hired a radio jockey. I hired a dancer, classical dancer, to basically bring in, the left brain and right brain combination. And it really worked well. So we basically did a project for a university, to basically kind of digitize some of their materials. And we got at least 10 contracts from different universities across the world. So what I'm saying is, embedding creativity into this world, into AI world, will definitely enhance the beauty of it. We should be restricting it, to the repetitive and this kind of work.
Thank you very much. Okay. So the word collaboration is has always been a very what do you say um, relevant for us in the consulting industry, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it's important that the use case that you mentioned about like people from one competency collaborating with another, people with one industry collaborating with another, because the projects that we normally do sometimes are quite interlinked with a lot of challenges, or they're so diverse that you need like, I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say there is a dam getting constructed. If I am a consulting organization, I would have mostly people who are management consultants, maybe chartered accountants, maybe finance experts, maybe procurement experts, maybe project management experts. But I'm not having people who day in, day out, 24 by 7 would do a dam design, or like all those aspects. I'm not a civil engineer, not I will be a dam. Don't go into that domain and describe what are the tasks that we want, but those aspects we do not have. But when we look at this project, we always look for some kind of other, like companies. We don't need to collaborate all the partners, and then reach to the client for this particular project. So those are kind of collaboration. Now, I have one important perspective, maybe it's not of my work. Collaboration, as long as it is connected to creativity, competency, commitment, on science, is fine. Collaboration, when it is based on convenience, is quite risky, quite dangerous. Sometimes uh, companies collaborate to bag a particular project. They may not have individually the competencies or the qualifications to be eligible for that. Then they collaborate. So the entity or the joint venture, as we call it, may look very attractive in terms of proposing, but then once actually they go into the delivery, they fail. Okay. So collaboration should not be according to money. That's my only fact with collaboration. I have a very different perspective to this. So when we talk about collaboration, we really get to the perspective that there are a bunch of people working together for a common goal. Large part of my career I have been an individual contributor. Nobody used to report to me for a long, long time. So now that we put this work. Did I do all the work? Of course not. Right? So how did I manage to get the work done? Because there was a lot of cross-functional issues. Right? So think about an example probably where the India-Pakistan match is going to be starting soon, right? So which team is going to be probably skills are there, the strategy is there, but teams to execute what I collaborating with each other, using those skills to complement each other. Sometimes play down or up to manage that balance that is going to be problem. But in another context, this is where you have control over the team and you can influence them to take forward both leadership.
other type of leadership is about when you don't have control over the other teammates of yours or whoever the cross-functional teams are there. How do you actually influence them without authority? Is another aspect of how we look at collaboration because they don't directly report to you. They don't take right instructions from you. They have their own perspectives. Every cross-functional team member might have a different ways to look at the team that they're trying to be achieving together. But at the same time, one of the key skills which is required in managers is that how do you actually influence when you don't have authority? That's more important because with authority you have power to influence people. But when you don't have authority, how do you influence? It's another angle of collaboration. And yeah, I would feel you can take it to my right? So I go back to cricket because first and I want to happen there. So think about the wicket keeper, right? So who does a lot of hard work, but sometimes does not get true credit. Bowler and batsmen, the contributions are often done more. But without that person, you may not be able to successful at all. Right? So there are different roles which are going to be there in collaboration. You should not think I'm better or that. There is a role, there is a role. That's what we are taking. And you should be true to that role and you play that role to the maximizing your capacity. Then collaborate based on saying when do I slow down and when do I go up. So that's what I feel about collaboration. There are different nuances to but as I said, collaboration is fundamental. Right? All the human characteristics are written in collaboration. So it is definitely there. AI is brought in an appropriate tool nowadays. Look at it, take it forward. That's what I think.
Open it up for questions. We'll take three questions first. One there. Anybody else, if you want to raise your hands now? Two and three here. Will if there is time. Yeah. So the gentleman there. Please be brief in your question, address it directly to the panelists you want to ask, and I request the panelists also to be short and brief so that many others can ask questions.
Good evening, sir. And my question is very to Bhaskar, sir. About the error, 90 about the government paying 90% accuracy. I wanted to ask about the 10% inaccuracy. How does an AI minimize the time to error? For humans, it would be as simple as getting a second opinion. But for AI, where does it get from its second opinion?
Who will you ask? Bhaskar? Oh, Dr. Bhaskar.
So, if you're a student of statistics, you understand that there is a level of confidence. Okay, so, before, so there are, we have some hypotheses, right? So, for example, I even in such projects, what happens is you have two kinds of data, one is unstructured data and one is structured data. Generally, the accuracy of structured data is different. So, more structured, you can basically use like your data quality is good. For unstructured, when you are basically, using the machine learning from okay. It is generally, I mean, obviously, most of the times it will be true, but many of times, there will be confusion between a tiger and a cat. Okay, for example, right? And, when we are basically reading documents, which is handwritten by someone, right? So there might be some kind of errors. So as what we do as professionals, that we keep on refining those kind of stuff. I mean, see, the more you do, that's why it's known as fine tuning. You fine tune the model. The moment you discover that there is something or some pattern which is coming out, you start fine tuning the model and it becomes very easy, right? So generally in the qualitative projects, even if it's 90% is known as a good activity, and for numeric, it basically varies. It can be 95%, even 99%. So it depends on the quality of data, it depends on the structure of structured data. But more or less, I think over a period of time, that's why it's basically known as continuous learning. So, accuracy.
Thank you. We'll move to the next.
Start with the question.
Yes.
We'll move to the next. Okay. If someone can pass that mic.
Good evening, panel. My name is Raj. My question is for Debasis sir. Sir, your presentation was really insightful. You talked about execution of ideas. Let's say I have an idea and I want to execute it in a business plan. Sir, is there any way to know which elements do I need to prune beforehand, pre-execution, or will I only know them post-execution after I executed my idea?
Thanks. Uh, First of all, to have an idea, you need to have a problem statement, correct? Because you are trying to solve the problem statement through that idea. So the problem statement must be based on you know, certain data points that you have observed. Let's say you notice that probably, let's assume, I'm from power sector, so I'm giving a related example that a particular locality is continuously facing low voltage issue. Okay, that's the problem statement. Now, what is the data that you have used to arrive at that conclusion? That this locality. Have you observed a trend for the past 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, 1 year? What has been the average voltage that has been present in the lines? Whether like the number of consumers complaints have been X during that period of time. So basically, when you are like analyze all these things, then you are arrived at the problem statement saying that I have to solve this problem statement of consumers facing low voltage, and then you would have certain idea whether like this can be done through technology, technical operation, whether it can be done through managerial problems, managerial solutions, like you want the people who are in charge of the meters to be more vigilant about where the leakages are happening and then to plug those leakages. Let's say in a line where there are 10 consumers and the transformer is designed for that. Suppose you have 50 unauthorized consumers hooking onto that line. So obviously the voltage will drop, right? So you have observed this, and then based on your idea, you are saying that these are the 1, 2, 3 points that need to be acted upon for the solving the technical issue. Let's say if the transformer is of low capacity, I have to upgrade it. These are the 1, 2, 3 points that I have to do to solve the managerial issues. So along with the idea, you also have like done the background work to see where is the problem and what could be the likely solution, right? So these are some of the background that you have to do before you actually. So it's not that like if you are a consultant to a client, it's not that like the moment you suggest them the idea, they are going to accept it. They are going to ask for some testing, right? And that same thing happens to the software tests also. A lot of POCs happen before they actually it goes on to the production. So it's good to have an idea, but it's better to have some testing before you actually do the full scale execution. Does that answer?
Yes, sir. Thanks. It really answered my question.
Thanks.
Hello. Good evening, sir. So I am Aditya. This question is open to all. So, coming from a creative background, something that quite bothers me is AI. And since we mentioned this again and again throughout multiple talks, that AI is something that needs to be leveraged in the right way, in the right manner. So, my question to you is, from your perspective, what do you think that AI mimicking art forms that have taken years to develop, how is that impacting? Because it is not just doing the dull work now, it's basically stealing it away. So yeah, that's my question.
Thank you, Sri. So, see, that's a new challenge which has come up. So there is a problem, I would say. So, can you avoid that at the current situation? Probably no. Unless you put a regulation saying that you cannot do this, you cannot do that. So, is that the right way to do or what is the right way? You don't have a right answer right now. But what I feel is, yeah, you as a creative person has created something probably what will you explain? Which can be replicated over 2 seconds to 2 minutes to another thing which is there. The technology which is there is going to quality and is going to take care of itself. We don't have an answer right now. But think about something like a not on window or something like that. Right? Which is going to be attached to that. It says that whether this is right or wrong, whether it's authentic or not. That kind of something. But it doesn't stop there. The government is more workspace in terms of saying that what is my even similar work which is there. Is that same or different? There is no right answer to that. So eventually what will happen is ecosystem will evolve and this is the problem that we address. We are not creating because wherever there is an outcome which comes out. I would say when the regulation will come on that, when the understanding will come on that, so they eventually how we see it as is that the art form itself, technology coming in, right? Will evolve further. The definition of what is an original art form is going to change. And then we will try to see what cannot be replicated, and we don't know the answer how to define that at this point in time. So the definition of what is original art form and what is not is going to change. Probably the same technology, from the same technology can solve that problem in terms of identity which is right now. The other aspect is you look at some things. Some icons might start, you know, changing hands. Maybe you are the owner today, you sell it to somebody. So how do you keep track of that? That's why blockchain and other technologies are coming in to say that, you know, how can we about the same? We don't have that right now. How do we move it backwards? I don't know at this point. More than I think we have that future going to put the blockchain is going to change this. So what I would say the conflict problem of time is that don't think about AI alone, right? It is never said that I will have only AI and more technology side. So there is logic and many other things are coming in. And when AI goes in, we will all interact with all this ecosystem that we create. So AI is not alone, there are other technologies. How does AI impact others and AI impact AI is also for us more. But there is no right answer now, currently to the current situation. But yeah, there are several factors. Technology will be there, regulations will be there, a ethical way of works for what has to be stolen and what has to be not. So don't think okay, that's what I would say.
Thank you very much. I think we are running short of time, and then we will conclude with this. And thank you very much for the eminent panelists who gave your insights. Thank you very much. And thanks to you for not spontaneously breaking apart and then starting another Gen Z, yeah, whatever Ms. Mohapatra was telling about or indicating about. Thank you very much for being so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw this remarkable event to a close, it is our honor to deliver the vote of thanks. On behalf of Xavier Institute of Management, Exide University, Bhubaneswar, we extend a heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speakers, Dr. Bhaskar Roy, Mr. Satya Swarup Das, and Mr. Debasis Mohapatra, for sharing their invaluable experiences and insights. Your stories of courage, clarity, and conviction truly embody this year's theme, leading at the edge from uncertainty to impact. A sincere thank you to Father Nitin Montero for graciously moderating the panel discussion and enriching today's dialogue. I would now like to request Professor Panikant Mishra to kindly grace us with his presence on stage. As we bring the discussion to a conclusion, I would like to request the speakers and our faculty members to accept a small token of appreciation. I would now request our faculties to kindly present a token of appreciation to our esteemed speakers. Also, the BES team has prepared something special for our speakers. We request our faculties to kindly present this symbol of our gratitude. And finally, something special for our faculties, Father Nitin Montero and Professor Banikant Mishra.
We would now like to invite the alumni. We would now like to invite the alumni committee to present our speakers with a token of gratitude. We would like to officially launch the annual alumni magazine. Now we would like to invite the alumni committee to present our speakers with a token of gratitude. A big thank you to our wonderful audience for your enthusiasm and thoughtful questions, which made today's interactions even more engaging. We would also like to thank Professor Francis Castellino and Professor Balikant Mishra for their unwavering support and constant guidance. We also genuinely express our appreciation to the committees that work tirelessly behind the scenes: the Alumni Committee, Career Advisory Services, Team Illuminatics, the Media and PR Cell, and Excellence, the Photography Committee, for ensuring the seamless execution of the summit. Thank you so much for your dedication. Now we request the audience to kindly remain seated as our esteemed dignitaries take their leave.